If you don't think I fucking feel bad about some of the things I did today as a 58-year-old, you got another thing coming. I goof around here. I make dark situations funny so I could get over them, and it's as a form of therapy. But some of the things I did still bother me very much today. Very much. The GED, not that much, because I did something in my life. And I ended up, trying. I ended up going to, I got my GED, which doesn't really fucking count in my book. High school is high school, but it works for now. And I ended up taking, 7, 8 fucking semesters of college. You know what? For a guy like me, where I came from, I could fucking live with that. So I didn't fucking talk about it. Now, you also gotta say, well, Joey, in 1994, weren't you doing comedy? Yes, I was. But half the shit that I tell you people over the last 10 years, I wouldn't even dare bring up. I wouldn't even dare bring up. I didn't have the balls to tell you guys that I had been in prison, that I had, I had a GED, that in 1993, in the middle of comedy, in the middle of everything, I stole a fucking change jar from a Carvel in Fort Lee. I would have never told you these things. Those are all fucking marks of a loser, okay? So yes, in 1994, I was going up on that stage and not talking about these things. So for you comics that are watching this, or comics that are young comics that are listening to this, this is where it comes in for you. I wasn't talking about this on stage. None of these stories I tell today, kidnapping, robbing Michael's jewelers, robbing this, doing about this, I never mentioned those stories. Why do you think? Because they were fucking, I was ashamed of them. I was actually ashamed of my fucking life. So my first couple of years of comedy, we were not doing this. We were going up there telling knock-knock fucking jokes. As a matter of fact, for 10 years of my comedy, I was going up there and doing knock-knock jokes. As a matter of fact, for maybe 13 to 14 years of comedy, I went up there and did knock-knock jokes. When did I become successful as a comic? When they heard these stories. When I finally opened up about being a criminal. When I opened up about even the tedious, most disgusting shit you could say. That's when I became a real comic. But I didn't know that. I didn't know that then. So for 94, 95, I tiptoed my way around that. When I met other comics, I didn't tell them I went to prison. What are you, crazy? I didn't want them to use it against me. They would use it against me the same way they used the $5 at the fucking comedy competition against me. If I tell these people I quit high school, they're going to lose it against me. If I tell these people that I robbed a change jar from fucking Carvel ice cream, they're going to use it against me. That's how I fucking live my life. I was at the store in 97, and I still wasn't talking about prison. I wasn't talking about none of this stuff. Because I dated a girl for fucking 2 years. I dated a girl for 4 years, and she didn't find out until like 18 months that I had gone to prison. That's how ashamed of it I was. And then a couple things happened. I watched a stupid movie called Family Business, and he told Matthew Broderick tells Sean Connery he's going to prison, and he goes, don't worry about it. It's like a hitch in the army. It builds character. And I'm like, well, it did help me build some fucking character, but I'm still not going to fucking say it. I'm still not going to fucking talk about it. I was just fucking brutally ashamed. There was just 1,001 things I had done that I didn't even, I would never, ever tell you people that I fucking used to go into a fucking Kmart and bring back receipts. How low life is that? That's as low life as it gets. But that's what my life was. That's a reality of it. That's what my life was. If I never told you that story, you guys would have never known about it. and I would have been just fine. But no, I wanted you to know. I wanted you guys to know everything, to see exactly and know exactly every step that I went through, every step of the way, and everything I did that I went through, every step of pain, everything. So for fucking 95, 96, 97, but then in 97, something happened. I used to have these articles, okay, because I was doing comedy, and I was doing these triple runs, and by 96, I was doing okay. But what I would read in those days was, I would read this comedy newspaper. I'm sorry, I've talked about it before in the church. I forget what it was called. It was put out by John Fox in San Francisco. And it was written by a bunch of comics. They probably got paid dick or nothing at all. And they used it as writing assignments, which is what you do in the beginning. And it just broke down comedy. It was just a comedy newspaper that every week it just broke down comedy, you know, what clubs were hot. It interviewed a certain comic. It interviewed a comedy club owner. It interviewed bookers. It just let you know the ins and outs of comedy. It was a pretty cute little fucking black and white. And it was free. It was at all the comedy clubs. And one month they had where they interviewed Tim Allen. And I read the interview, and it talked about how he had gone to prison. And I was blown the fuck away. I was blown the fuck away. I knew Lenny Bruce had been in jail, you know, like Pryor had been arrested. People had been arrested. That's not what I was relating to. Fucking Tim Allen did time. So I was like, oh, thank God. And then when he got a deal from Disney, I was like, oh, okay. There's one guy I could relate to. So I went from being a Hicks, Kennison, Dice, Pryor guy, and I reworked it and went all the way back to the early beginnings of Tim Allen. His Showtime specials. He did a couple Showtime things. I forget what the name of them are. I'm really sorry, guys, with memory and all that stuff. Even though I take the Alpha Brain.